Good Monday morning, everybody. Welcome to School Through Spirit. I'm your host, DeEtte Ranae here. Excuse me, on WLTK, Let's Talk Digital Radio. Now, this is a show to explore different people's lives, their journeys, and how spirit has impacted that. Now, I do speak with different people of different spiritual modalities and others that have just found that spirit has impacted their life. Now, as you all know, I do start the week with a beautiful discussion that spirit has given me. And then, of course, going to my guest. My guest this week is Kelley Eckhardt. Oh my God, Eckhardt. I hope I pronounced that right. I've known her for 5 years. I'm working on those things. But you know what? She has got, I met her 5 years ago. I'll tell you what, she has just got a dynamic story. She's a dynamic person. She's got so much knowledge. She's world traveled. She's just this amazing lady. And I'm really hoping that through her story, she'll reach out and touch people to help them on their journey. Okay. So this morning I was kind of laughing. My producer Todd's been laughing at me because I'm like, what am I going to talk about today? And it's strange because I do that. I get so nervous every week. I get so nervous every week. But I'm going to tell you, number one, let's do an announcement. Let's do a big announcement. Mercury has gone direct. Oh my God, Mercury's gone direct. We are done with the retrogrades. Jupiter's gone direct. Mercury's gone direct. I think Saturn went to the planets are all going the way they need to, in line, on that way going forth. It's amazing. It's fantastic. So let's keep that going. Oh my God, what is that behind me? Does everybody see that? No clue what that is. I bet you it's sun coming through, but boy, it looks like a crystal star back there, doesn't it? I love it, or lighted crystal. But with that being said, communications, those should be getting better. Everything, plans, thoughts, things of that nature, things that obstacles, roadblocks you've had should be getting easier, smoothing out, and making life a little bit easier to navigate. Okay. And because I am sure, like myself, you have done a ton of work on those communication skills, finding out deeper within yourself who you are, what you're doing, what you're about. Okay. And if you have, guess what it is time now for? Now it's time for you to push forward. Okay. It's time for you to push forward. Push out of that comfort zone that you've had. Time to redefine yourself. Oh my God, I'm doing the wiggle jiggles in my hair. Ah! I'm having a morning. Everything's falling apart. It's not a toupee, it's just my hair, guys. It's big fuzzy today, so I threw it back really quick. But with that being said, though, I am going to ask people to start pushing out their comfort zones. Redefine yourself. You've done this work. You've gone within. You've had a period of time here over the last few months, and it's been months. It hasn't been just a few days or weeks. It's been months of looking at relationships, looking at your communication, looking at your job, looking at everything that defines you as a person. Okay. You have probably experienced roadblock after roadblock after roadblock. Okay. And just going, wow, when is this ever going to end? It almost feels like bad luck all the time. Hey, Kelley, good morning. And it's really not bad luck. It's just really about you going within and really starting to do some soul searching. And you know what? I can honestly tell you, every time I play now, this Mercury retrograde, when it went retrograde, I'll tell you what, I haven't experienced one like this in a really long time. Okay. One like this it kicked my butt. It really kicked my butt. And I'm sure it kicked other people's butts. But with that being said, when let's kind of I kind of jumped ahead into myself. But when planets start to go retrograde, and we normally have this really difficult time with them. Okay. Why? Because we're always fighting, we're struggling. We don't, as a person, most people don't really like and or accept change very well. If you're like me, I gotta go, okay, the world just changed. Stop. I don't want to get off the planet, but I need it to stop for a minute. I need everything to stop for 5 minutes for me to take some breaths, go, it's kind of like Lamaze breathing here, and pull myself back and go, okay, what changed and how does this affect me? Allow myself to open up what now the new goal is going to be, or the new process is going to be, and then allow it to continue on. And every time something goes to a retrograde, that's essentially what I have to do. And if I don't do it, life just goes and gone. Okay, it blows up and it goes. I fight it, and I'm sure that's what most people do is they fight it. Excuse me, my communication, my throat, my communication must be shutting down a little bit on me. That's what all my coughing means, just in case everybody knows. So literally, when you hear about a planet starting to go retrograde, now we always hear about Mercury because it's a big one. It's about communication, it's about electronics, about all of that. And we are so much of that type of population. Of course it's going to nail us, okay? But again, at the core, it's about the communications, okay? Other planets also go retrograde, okay? And it's really important. And I'm telling you, I'm telling myself this as well as I'm telling you guys this, is that when you hear about a planet going retrograde, it's really important to stop, study, learn what that means. Really take time to learn, process, okay, what is it? Why is this planet going retrograde? What is it about this time? Because every time it's going to be changed a little bit. Why? Because the stars are a different alignment, the planets are in a different alignment, Earth's in a, I mean, it's all in different areas. So each time it's going to mean something different. Okay. So it's really important to study, okay, what is affecting me this time? What am I supposed to be working on? It's almost as like we get lazy. We get lazy and we just want to we don't want life to change. We'll say, oh my God, I really want this to change. I want this to change. I want to do better in my life. God, I want my relationships to be better. We got all of these things we want. But at the end of the day, how many of us actively work on those things? How many of us really stop and go, okay, I'm going to work on this week, that this week, blah, 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 and move forward? We tend not to, right? Why? We get caught up in life. We get caught up in our kids, our grandkids. You may not have grandkids. I got three. It's awesome. Um, but we get our relationships, our husbands, our wives, our whatever. Hey, good morning, Miss Tasha. There's so many things that we get caught up in. So we don't always take the time to think about ourselves personally. Okay. I mean, how many of you guys get up and go take a massage once a month or go to the chiropractor once a month or just soak your feet once a month, something for yourself? We don't tend to do that. We think about it, we want to do it, but we don't. So I really do think the universe has said, you know what? These people, these people need to take time for growth. I mean, why are we here on this planet? We're here to grow. We're here to experience. We're here to evolve the soul. Okay. So the planet has said, you know what? They get into that body and they start to have a great time or life gets on with them. They need reminders. They need reminders. So they basically set up this huge calendar and they use the planets and the stars and basically astrology to say, hey, boom, let's do this. Okay. So think about those retrogrades and those directs as a universe's way to say, hey, it's time for you to stop, take a breath, slow down, go within and see what you need to work on here. See what you need to work on. Okay. And I'll tell you what, a lot of times that works for me. Do I need to do a lot more studying? Oh my God. Oh my God, do I have to study? I need to know more about all these things. Like before this show today, I'm like looking at what does this Mercury direct mean? What's this Mercury direct mean? It tells you tons about going redirect. But what is it when it goes back direct? Now, I did find a little tidbit, not a lot. Like again, I need to study more and I need to find those resources. And when I find those resources, I'll share them with you guys, okay? Um, but and there's tons of astrology people out there that are just experts in this that are really good with this, okay? So trust me, look them people up. But it's weird because when I honestly found something about going direct, it was actually my horoscope. My horoscope. And I get horoscope from a few different places. Oh my God, my chair just seems to be out of the way. This one particular, and I don't always read them. I'm not this huge horoscope person. They're fun, whatever. But with this one in particular, what I read, and one is from astrology.com. Just so you know, I'm an Aquarius. So this is for any Aquarius out there. Okay. This is just a general blank for Aquarius on the whole Mercury direct type, blah, blah, blah. So for mine for today, it says life often requires to define our personal truths. Ooh, Aquarius. The universe has encouraged you to deconstruct some of those self created misconceptions during Mercury's recent retrograde phase. Monday's skies find Mercury returning to direct motion, offering mental clarity towards big picture philosophies, educational pursuits, travel plans. Meanwhile, energetic Mars alignment with big hearted Jupiter offers you a fearless desire for self expansion. And I just threw that part in because hey, we need some extra oomph up there. So this is literally just for Aquarius. So this is an astrology for everybody. But I do honestly believe that even though this is particular for Aquarius, I do believe this is what going direct right now for all of us is really kind of meaning. It is literally that what during this last as it says during this last retrograde we are about deconstruction of our self-created misconceptions, who we thought we were, maybe who we were pretending to be, thought were acted upon, not realizing we changed and grown, those type of things, and it's really making us kind of it made us look within. It tore us down. It tore us down. And now that it is flipping to direct, we are looking at more mental clarity, towards that big picture, philosophies, educational pursuits, travel plans, careers, all of that. Why? Because it's busted us down. It's done. It's like, wow, it made us look at so many things that have been going on for so long. Okay. I don't know about you, but I've been really stagnant. I mean, this pandemic has pushed me into stagnant land. Did I have a lot of growth through it? I have. I had a lot of realizations. I've had a lot of growth. Before the pandemic started, I was a full-time medium. I did a ton of traveling. I'm not going to shortcome that at all, but I was also a nurse. I was also going to work not every day, but quite frequently as a nurse. I was not giving up that 9 to 5 job. Okay. Through the pandemic, I gave up, before the pandemic, actually, I gave up the nursing job. Please don't anybody shoot me for it. That wasn't I mean, yeah, I wanted to do it. I won't lie. I wanted to give up nursing 5 years ago. But Spirit said, you know what? You're not going to do this anymore. This is done. Okay. And and God bless everybody that every medical person, every frontliner, anybody that has been on the front lines of COVID. Oh my gosh, bless you for the job you've done. I mean, my heart goes out to you. Beautifully, my heart goes out to you. But with that, Spirit also said, "Dear, you're going to grow. This is your chance. This is your time that you are going to start trusting. You are going to start growing." And that's what they did. They took my job away. Then they took all my events away. They took everything I thought I needed for money away from me. Okay. And I went, whoa, wait a second. What's going on? And they said, you're going to grow. This is your chance to grow. And I did. I did. I got trust. I started teaching more. My passion for teaching has just grown. I've seen so many beautiful, miraculous things come from it. And I've watched and witnessed the growth of so many individual women that is just mind blowing. Okay. And to see those all just explode. My online business just started to really flourish. All that started to come together. This radio show came together. So many different things happened. But with all that being said, I also became very stagnant. And this Mercury retrograde told me that. Okay. I thought I was doing all this growth. I thought I was doing all this, and I had. I had done all of that, did it all in the first year. For this last bit, this last however many months, I've been sitting on the laurels of that, just sitting on it, not pushing myself, not expressing more, not looking deeper within. And I'm sure all of you've done the same thing. You haven't gone in here to go, oh my God, what more is there? What more is there? Okay. And this Mercury retrograde really, as much as I really wanted to scream, shout, and holler at it, broke me down. Did it break you down? Did it put a stop on so many things? Did it make you feel anxious? Did it make you feel like, oh my God, I don't know if I can go on like this? Did it break down communications with people? Did it make you start to question who you are, what you're doing, what you're about, what your middle name is? I mean, anything, because it did me. It did me. It also showed me a lot of revelations. throughout the process because when I was fighting it, when I was fighting, which is what I did for the first part, I fought that everything. I'm like, no, I am me. I'm going to stay me. I know who I am, and spirit will tell me when it's going to change. And I forgot to realize that spirit will use Mercury retrograde, and they did. But when I stopped fighting that process and I started letting it break it down, break me down, see what I need, see what I didn't need, and who I was going to be through this, all of a sudden life started to change. Okay, I gotta take a drink. And it was really cool because what came of it is number one, I hired somebody to do my website. I hired my producer to do my website, and it's spectacular. I've gotten so many rave reviews on it, but that's something I've been fighting for a long time. Not to have him do it, but I've been fighting to get a new website for a long time. I mean, Todd can attest to this. Oh my God, this whole mirrored effect on my thing. But Todd can attest to this. I talked to him probably almost a year ago about doing my website. I talked and talked and talked, and I threw around the idea, and I just didn't think I was ready for it. you know, I don't know about you guys, but in my world, in my personal world, there's certain things that come with success. There's certain things that come with saying I have self-worth. Okay. Part of that is, or that I'm worthy. Part of that is like getting a website done. Okay. That's huge to me. I mean, to other people, it might be just throwing a website up, whatever. But to me, it's huge to say, you know what? I am worthy of a very good website that's looking within to say, I am good enough. Okay. So that's one thing this retrograde said. It made me go in, made me go inwards and say, what do you think your own worth is? Who are you? What do you want to do? And if you are, it's time for you to go to the next step. It's time for you to say, I am ready to go to the next step. I am ready for big leagues on multiple different layers, multiple different levels. So, number one was getting the website and getting it beautifully done. And for one that people want to be looking at. Because trust me, my website that I did looked more like an obituary. It's like you didn't want to read it, you thought I died, you know? And that was one thing. Okay. That was one step in my deconstruction of me and what I thought I was, and taking those steps to become something different. Not become because I already was, but it's just those steps of moving forward. Okay. Another one is opportunities that have been being presented to me that I really never thought would happen. Other people said they would. I didn't necessarily believe it. But these opportunities are being said here you go. They're in their hands and they're taking it. And not only are they taking, they're saying, please, will you come? That also made me deconstruct who I thought I was and my worth. And that's really hard to do because I don't know about you, but for myself, looking at myself and my self worth can be really difficult. It can be really difficult to look within and say, wow, again, am I good enough? On multiple different levels, not just me as a person, but I'm also talking about my mediumship, my abilities. Am I good enough? And spirit said, yeah, you are. You need to start realizing that. You need to look within and realize that. And since you're not doing that, we are going to start deconstructing you to make you realize that. And when I started to look at it and I started to go, wait a second, maybe this is true. All of a sudden, opportunities not only knocked on the door, they opened the door, they stretched out their hands, not one, but two, and said, come with me, come. All you have to do is say yes. And next thing you know, I'm booking airfares, air flights, 2 or 3 flights, and hopes or possibilities, aspirations of more. Because I allowed that planet to go retrograde on my life. I allowed it to go, wait a second, I'm going to go and look within. I'm going to do what it wants me to do. I'm going to get in here and I'm going to tear down my old belief system and start to believe anew of what I've created. I've had a lot of growth. I just wasn't allowing myself to have that, to show that growth to myself. Other people apparently seen it. I didn't see it. And that's what this planet has done. Now I want you to take a moment here and think about where were you when retrograde started? Where were you? At what point in your life were you? Were you stagnant? Were you maybe not having belief within yourself? Were you, having one job and now you have a different job? Think about all of those transitions you've made in the last, well, it said September or something or other that it started. I mean, this is actually a pretty short retrograde, I think. I think it was only like 4 weeks, 5 weeks, something like that. It didn't feel like it was awful long, but it was a hardcore one. But a lot of things have changed in that time. Now, what's cool about this though, because I know everybody's like, oh, that's so awesome. You know what? We're finally, and I don't know if you heard anything other than I said we've gone direct. And that might be all, and that's all you need to hear then. But what are you going to do going forward from this? Now that spirit and the planets and everything is finally lifted this up, finally lifted this veil, finally said, oh my God, we beat you enough. It's time for you to look within. It's time for you to allow that new deconstructive person to bloom, to blossom. Okay? So, what are you going to do? Are you going to push past your comfort zones? Are you going to find new comfort zones? I mean, that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing. First thing I thought this morning when I woke up, I mean, I got up, helped get the grandbabies ready, got one on the bus, ran around, took a shower, blah, 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 blah. Busy morning already, packed for, the trip I'm taking today for a couple of days. But one thing I also thought is we're going, wow, in a week from today, I'll be in a plane home from Buffalo, New York. Okay. And how my life may have changed after that one couple hour event. How it might change. It may not change a whole lot, but it might change huge. It might be a stepping stone to whatever's going to come next. But I got to take the step to see what it is. I need to make that first step. Now, yeah, the first step was saying yes when I was asked. Second step was making the flight. Third step, rental car. Fourth step is going to be getting on that plane. Fifth is going to be doing the event. And the sixth is when I get back on that plane to think on the way home to go, wow, I'm ready for more opportunities. It's been a long time since I traveled to do events. Travel to do galleries. It's been 5 years since I traveled the United States to do galleries. It's been a long time. Back then, I wasn't quite ready for what might be in front of me. So I jumped back into the shell. I jumped back into the that person that I thought I still was, that wasn't worthy and wasn't good enough. I jumped back into that person and went, well, nope, not doing this, not doing this. I gave myself a million excuses and jumped back in. Really, I was ready. Spirit had already said you'd done the work. Spirit already said you've done all this. But I didn't think I was. So now they've waited 5 years. They let me get some experience. They let me get some know-how. They let me feel better about myself. They waited until I was in a better space. And now I get to push past those comfort zones again. I get to create new comfort zones. And I like to say it that way, create new comfort zones. Because so often we are saying, pushing out of our comfort zone, pushing out of our, and I don't know about you, that sucks. To me, that sucks. Pushing out of my comfort zone. And I do it to so many people. I'm going to push you out of your comfort zone. And I do. I give them exercises. I give them tests. I do everything to push somebody out of their comfort zone. But you know what? That really is kind of a hard thing to do, and then a hard thing to do. Pushing out of your comfort zone. Why? Because it feels uncomfortable. And everybody says you need to be uncomfortable for growth. So let's flip this around a little bit and start saying, I'm going to create new comfort zones. Okay? It is pushing out of the one you're in, but the new comfort zone is going to be something else you're going to do that's going to feel amazing when you get there. It's kind of like, you know what? You get a new job. You've never worked for this company, you've never done whatever. Oh my God, you're terrified. But a week into it, all of a sudden you've got a new comfort zone. You're still going to grow within that comfort zone. You're going to learn a lot within that comfort zone. And eventually you're going to get comfortable in that comfort zone. And you're going to have to grow a new comfort zone. But that's what I'm doing. So I hope I didn't confuse you with all that. Okay? So you're going to have to tell me, what is your new comfort zone? What are you going to do? Okay? So I will see you back in a few moments with DeEtte Ranae here on Schooled Thru Spirit with WLTK-DB.
Sunday, October 24th, the 2021 Statler City Psychic Fair in Buffalo, New York. Come out and meet psychic medium and host of Schooled Thru Spirit, DeEtte Ranae, and spirit medium and host of the Ghost Finders, Rob Thompson. DeEtte Ranae is a renowned psychic medium, medical intuitive, and master teacher of psychic mediumship development. Hailing from Wisconsin, DeEtte trained under world-renowned psychic Lisa Williams. Spirit medium Rob Thompson is one of DeEtte's mediumship development students. He is the host and executive producer of America's longest-running indie paranormal TV show, The Ghost Finders, on Amazon Prime, Apple TV, and Roku. He has made guest appearances on other shows including Discovery Channel's Paranormal 911 and A Haunting, and teaches paranormal research at the Los Angeles City College. Come and meet these two superb mediums together on stage for live gallery readings. Remember, Sunday, October 24th, the 2021 Statler City Psychic Fair. Get your tickets now at StatlerCity.com. That's StatlerCity.com. Doors open at 1, close at 6. Gallery readings, tarot cards, and more. Statler City Psychic Fair. Tickets at StatlerCity.com.
Welcome back to Schooled Thru Spirit. I'm your host, DeEtte Ranae, here on WLTK-DB, and I'd like to welcome Kelley in.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
I can.
Great.
Oh, I love your space. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
Hi, thank you for coming.
Well, thanks for inviting me. I'm super excited.
Me too. It's early because I know you're in California.
Yeah. I mean, I get up early normally, but I don't usually see anybody until noon.
I get that. In the mornings I help grandkids off to the school bus, and I go, for the morning.
Yeah, my morning's usually my son, but he has today off, thank goodness, because this is normally the time I get him ready. We get up about 5:36 every morning.
Oh, wow. That's crazy early.
I know. It is.
Well, can you do me a favor, Kelley, and introduce yourself? I screw up. I know your last name, but I screw up everybody. I'm horrible with names.
No worries.
I'm working on going Spirit. I promise I'll figure out names.
I'm the same way with names, so don't even worry. I mean, I finally learned how to say your name, DeEtte. It's taken me, 5 years?
It's just, it's like, here we go.
Yeah. So my name's Kelley Eckhardt. I am a psychic medium, and I'm living in Sacramento right now, at least for the next 4 years while my son's in high school. My husband and I like to move a lot. And I do psychic readings, mediumship readings, what else? Compatibility, animal readings. I also do live events, online events, and small group readings, things like that. And I also teach. mainly right now, I'm just teaching the basics of mediumship and connecting with spirit for beginners. I just opened up a new center here in Sacramento. It's called the Love and Light Center.
Oh, wow.
To really kind of bring a community together for all the local practitioners. I wanted to have a space for everybody to use to teach classes and just kind of provide for the community. So I'm excited about that.
I love that. I think you had an event recently, haven't you? Because I went through.
I did a holistic fair. It was my grand opening, and it went really well. I mean, I was happy. It's a small, venue. We had 6 practitioners and just one vendor, but all day all of us were busy, and everybody made quite a bit of money.
That's
so
amazing.
I think that's a success.
That's a huge success. I love it. I got to see the pictures, and I was just like, God, why am I not in California?
I know, right? I wish like we all lived like close by.
I know.
I love that you're starting to travel, because I'm actually trying to put that together for me.
Yeah.
Mostly just to Southern California, but I mean, I would like to travel to other places. I've been coordinating with people. It's just we're waiting till next year.
Oh, yeah. And you know what? Spirit told me it was time. I was like, are you sure? And it literally was, will you please come? And I went,
awesome.
Okay, let's do this. So, and we're just hoping for more, you know what? Just hoping for more, and kind of going like that, So
That's
how
great.
did you get started with all this, Kelley? I mean, how did you find out you're a medium? What is your story? I find so many. I don't know about you. That's
I have a crazy story. And for years I couldn't talk about it because I just thought people are going to think I'm insane. But it started as like really, I remember my past life and being in the spirit world. I remember my last death.
Oh, wow.
And watching my mother give birth to my brother that she put up for adoption 13 years before I was born.
Oh, wow.
So I also, remember so many things in the spirit world. And I remember my whole first year of life. And I always knew that I was different and that I had a connection to my angels and to just like my guides and the spirit world. I just always knew that. I mean, kind of as a child, for probably my first 7 years, I didn't really have that many friends because I was kind of an odd child.
Mm-hmm.
And I was spending all my time in the spirit world, I would say. At nighttime, I always astro traveled and left my body. I mean, it was just something I'd always done.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom talked about it openly as a child. And I mean, I got my first tarot deck when I was like 10 from my sister. I mean, we just did like, it was like normal. I grew up in the 70s in Venice Beach, and it was kind of a real spiritual community and a lot of other things there too. But it was an eclectic childhood, very dysfunctional family, but it was never talked about like you have this gift, but it was just sort of like we all kind of had it. And as a teenager, of course, you want to push it away because it's always guilting me for wanting to have fun and do bad things. And, I always say there's like this angel on my shoulder telling me, no, don't do that, Kelley. And I was fighting with it, and always getting myself in trouble because when you don't listen to your intuition, right, you kind of get off the wrong path. So I would say like my teens and my 20s were really kind of fighting my own gut and making bad choices in my life. I don't regret them, but they're part of my journey,
I can't see you making a bad choice, honestly.
Oh. We'll talk later. I went through some bad things. I got married very young and had 2 kids right away. And it was not a good marriage. And so right about 28, I feel like, or 29 after I had my daughter, I kind of woke up. I think having children wakes you up. And I started, I started letting the dreams come back, which they were coming, but I was ignoring them. But I really started listening to spirit. They were telling me what I needed to do, because that's what they've always done my whole life, always told me what to do. And I'm like, don't tell me what to do, spirit.
My mother.
Right. But now my dad was coming through shortly after this. And I was about 31, 32. My dad was coming through, and they told me, you need to leave your husband now. Like, you need to pack the children up right now. And it was like 3 a.m, and you need to get out because you're going to die. So I did. I left my husband and I filed for divorce, and I bought the house from him, and I got divorced, and I took charge of my life, even though he stalked me for years.
Wow.
And I got my life together, and I I met my husband now when I was pregnant with my first child. We worked together, and I went to work for him after my divorce.
Oh, wow.
And he got divorced, and we ended up getting together. And we've been together now 16 years.
Wow.
And we have a child together, my youngest son. And so our son, when he was born, the first thing he told me was all about my dad, who had died before he was born, and how he missed him so much. He just missed his grandpa so much, and what a funny guy he was, and all these stories about my dad that he would never know. And he's like 2 years old.
Wow.
And he was a weird kid like me. And preschools were telling me like they thought there was something wrong with him and this and that. And I was like, there's something wrong with my kid. So he's got a high IQ like everyone in my family. And so I thought, you know what? He's talking about dead people. He's not sleeping at night. He's hitting things in the dark because he sees spirit.
Yeah.
I went through the same thing. I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to figure this out. I don't want him to grow up like I did. I want him to embrace this gift because I started embracing it. So I started developing and learning about my gift when he's 14 now. So when he was about 4, and I found a child psychologist who was also a medium who worked with him and me.
Yeah.
And she kind of saved our lives. And he's 14 now, and he has the most amazing gift, but he shut it off. He wants to be a teenager.
And that's okay.
And he has good boundaries with spirit. Like he knows how to control it. And he'll tell me he doesn't believe it anymore. He's too scientific. But then it kind of comes and goes, and out of there, then he'll tune into something and tell me something. I'm like, oh, but you don't believe in it.
Right.
So, he goes, it's the teen thing.
Yeah.
So he's questioning everything, but I'm fine with it. But he's the reason I really kind of found my gift and really honed in on it. And I feel like that kind of saved my life because it put me on a whole new path.
Right.
It's been a beautiful path. And it also saved me because I lost my oldest son shortly after I started developing. About 4 years after I started developing, he passed.
Yeah.
4 or 5 years. And I feel like if I had not had the spiritual community and the spiritual belief and my understanding of my gift, I don't know that I could have survived the death of my child, especially my firstborn.
Yeah.
Or any of them. But, your firstborn, you kind of have a bond with that's different than the other kids because you learn so much from each other.
Yeah. My heart goes out to you every year when his anniversary comes up. It's just like, because I couldn't imagine that.
Yeah. And Mother's Day weekend of all things. Yeah. And then to lose my dog shortly after on my birthday, I'm like, what is it with the holidays? Like, come on, spirit. What are you doing to me?
It's like, no, don't do this. I get
not
it.
All my people I love, my animals, not on my birthday, not on Mother's Day. I cannot do another holiday passing.
Right. In my family, it's holiday bursts.
Oh, that's good. That's good. That's a celebration.
You can't complain. You can't complain,
Yeah.
So I love that. Now, with everything you've done, one thing, and I'll tell you what, it's been 5 years since you and me certified together, and obviously you were doing this very professionally. I've been doing a ton of free readings before we certified. I really saw, I'll never forget it because why am I here? Why am I here in San Antonio? Because I suck. You know what I mean? It was kind of my thought process.
You were amazing. You still are amazing.
Well, thank you. Yeah, even Lisa said I just kind of bloomed that week. She's just
you were like, I was like, whoa. I wasn't doing this professionally, honestly. I had just started my business in 2015, and I was doing it part-time at my crystal store.
Yeah. And see, I was in awe because I do, that week, and I always go back to that week because so many amazing women, and you all affected my life in so many ways. Yeah. Honestly, if I hadn't met all of you, my trajectory of my life would be vastly different than it is right now. I'd be still being a nurse, hating my job, what I mean? Just ankles, elbows deep in wounds, whatever, you know what I mean? Yeah. Not being happy at all. But I do remember because we would talk about your crystal shop, and you would talk about it a little bit. Yeah. And I was in awe to have that kind of strength, that kind of faith, to do that, because that was something I always wanted to do, but I've never had that strength to say, I'm going to do this, and I know this is going to work. So how did you do that? How did you, is that something you're born with, or is it just something you had to muster up and say, I'm going to buy a crystal and sell it?
My husband and I are funny that way. I would say we're both a little eccentric when it comes to our decision making. And if you ask our children, they'll tell you that too. We've picked up and moved states and started all over. My husband's been an entrepreneur his whole life.
Right.
And he really encouraged me to be an entrepreneur, and always supports me and pushes me. But I just think like my whole life, my mother moved every 6 months. I had to change schools. I had to make new friends. I had to reinvent myself. And let's just say I didn't really make friends until about age 11 or 12. I was very different. I was in all the gifted classes and I was just different. And the kids didn't understand me, you know? And so I learned to become very adaptable. And I also learned not to be afraid of change and embrace it and actually crave it. That's why I say we'll be here for 4 years while my son, I've been unschooling him. So we've been able to be real free, but he wants to go to regular high school. And so we're going to commit to 4 years here for him to finish out high school. Yeah. And then we don't know what we're going to do.
I love that.
Because Florida, it might be, who knows?
It might be Venice. You know what I mean?
Belize. The Bahamas. I don't know.
I keep seeing Venice for you. Like you need to go to Italy. You need to go to
I want to. I mean, I want to travel. My husband, not so much, but now he's kind of expressed some interest in maybe traveling. And he has a sister who's in Spain and we want to go visit her so much. But of course, COVID's happened and you know, so, but that's going to be one of our first trips. And New Zealand, I have a best friend in New Zealand. I want to go there.
Yeah.
You know, just lots of places. And I have a client in Australia that I really like. He's one of my students and I want to go visit him. I mean, there's so many things I want to do in places. And I feel like I know people from all over the world because of the spiritual community. Like we meet people from everywhere. And I feel like every continent I have a friend, you know?
Isn't it amazing how that works? I love that. I love that.
I love it.
And it's funny because before you came on, I was talking about change and how retrograde this year.
I was listening.
It kicked my butt. I don't know about you.
It kicked my butt this year. The retrograde has been like insane. I mean, there's just been some crazy stuff happening, you know?
And normally they don't affect me that badly.
Me either.
They have me for a long time, but now I'm like, oh my God. But I was also talking about change. I don't know if you heard that part. So it's like, you're talking about your story and mine really resembles a lot of yours because I was moved all the time. I mean, I have like 2 friends throughout the years I remember having that are no longer friends. So it's like, I really look back on school years and I don't have anybody that was there from beginning to end, you know, except for I used to be a person that loved change. And now I'm like, whoa, hold on. Yeah, I need to breathe for 5 minutes. I want it to be different. I want all that, but I have to stop and get off the roller coaster for 5 minutes, take a breath and go, okay, I need sure footing somewhere. You know?
That is nice. Yeah. I mean, I like to have a little bit of a foundation and Sacramento's kind of always been our foundation. That's why we're coming back. I mean, I grew up in Los Angeles and Venice Beach and that's where I grew up. But in my at 21, I moved to Sacramento and I got married at 22 and I had my children here and I lived here for 18 years before I moved back to Southern California, which I absolutely love Southern California. I just don't love the prices. We literally save $6,000 a month living back in Sacramento, which yes, which allows us to afford the private school my son's going to.
Right.
Because that's $2,000 a month. You know,
and I've always wanted to go to Sacramento. I'm sorry. I was a Charmed girl when they were on the original one.
I never watched that show. Was it in Sacramento?
Yes, their house is in Sacramento.
Oh, I have to watch it now.
The original one. The new one, I've put it on. I'm like, just not the same, you know?
Okay, I'll have to look for it now. Now I've got to look for it.
You're going to have to. I'll tell you. I mean, it's kind of old school, but I think it was my first into that imagination. Like, this could be real. Like, talking to people could be real.
I've always loved the spiritual community. Like, as a kid, I loved Bewitched. I always thought I could be witch, and I'd like want to do that with my nose, you know?
I think I still remember all the shows. I mean, it's just, I think we're aging ourselves now, Kelley. We're in trouble.
Oh, I don't care. I'm 51. I mean, I'm proud of my age, you know?
Me too. I hit 50 and I did a happy dance. They're all like,
I was mad.
That's the best part of my life. I'm 50. I don't look so bad.
I wanted a big party, but it was COVID. I was so mad. I wanted a Vegas party. Yeah. And now it's like this year, it still just was. I mean, we've been to Vegas so many times during COVID anyways. I just didn't have the time this year to plan to do my 51st birthday, which would have made up for my 50th because we are opening up the shop. We're in the middle of moving still, and just so much going on. And my son's in school now. We don't get to just go travel whenever we want.
I know that sucks,
I feel kind of weighed down. It's a strange feeling.
And that's funny too, because I think I've done more traveling during COVID than I did traveling for work. I did a lot before COVID. I was always somewhere every weekend in some state.
Right.
During COVID, it was like, you know what? I don't know about for you, but for myself, it was a lot of self-realization, looking at myself, my personal growth. A lot has happened for me. So like for myself, it was like, you know what? I want to go to Mexico. Hit the button. I want to do this. Hit the button. I want to do this. Hit the button. And we did it as a family. Oh yeah, we were safe. We got COVID tested. We what? We followed every restriction there were or has been. And I mean, we're going back to Punta Cana in a month and a half,
Oh, I'm jealous.
Oh, well, it was a part of that learning through COVID of like, okay, this is a pandemic, but what is this pandemic supposed to be teaching us?
Right. To take a break and to go enjoy life. We went to Hawaii.
Yeah.
Like, I had to force my husband.
Yeah.
He does not like to take a break.
Yeah.
But it was really good for him and he enjoyed it so much that we stayed an extra 5 days.
Good morning, Kat. Kat just said good morning. Yeah, and that's just it. Is that something you have found with the pandemic? Because somebody actually asked me in an interview not that long ago, what does the pandemic or the political stuff mean for you? And I took it from a spiritual aspect. If I would ask, and that's a kind of a bigger question, I know, but what does just the pandemic itself mean to you? I mean, outside of the virus.
It was like a real, so when I have too much time, I get in my head.
Okay.
And I did a lot of thinking and trying to create, but things weren't happening that I was trying to create. And so to me, it was kind of an eye opener. And it was really the process of us moving back to Sacramento.
Mm-hmm.
My husband got cancer during the pandemic, which was horrible because everything was a waiting game and we had no answers. Thankfully, it was stage 1 and they were able to remove it and it had not spread. Beautiful. But it took almost 4 months to figure all that out, and that was a long 4 months. It was looking at my son and seeing like our unschooling wasn't working for him anymore because he couldn't go to his homeschool classes and go hang out with kids and just be social.
Right.
It was a lot of like kind of looking at our life and just looking at like why were we where we were at where we weren't really happy, and how to make some changes, which is difficult for my husband. Normally it's not, but this was a real difficult change for him, which was hard for me because, usually we're on the same page,
right,
or real close to the same page. And he's been very indecisive.
Right.
And that's hard for me to deal with because I'm a decision maker and I'm used to his indecisiveness. But when I know, and I'm all in.
Right.
Like with the crystal store, I don't know, I had a dream.
Oh, wow.
And they showed me the crystal store and I was like, yeah, let's do it. But it wasn't, I tried it and I didn't like it. Well, I think I might have liked it better, but like literally right when I opened it, my mother-in-law passed, my father-in-law passed, and then my son passed. So I was kind of like not in the mood for retail. I didn't want to be around people.
I don't think I'd been in the mood for crystals. Like, none of
crystals were great. I love the crystals. I love the store. I love the events. Just I didn't want to be around so many people.
And
I was grieving. So that was a bad time to start the crystal store, but it was a good stepping stone.
I love that.
But the pandemics just taught me to really kind of take that time to process things. And a lot of times I just jump on things and I don't think them through all the way.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that because that's a nice positive way to look at it. Because I'm always trying to look at the positive. What am I getting from this? What is this for? And I like that. I also like the fact that we're at the tail end, hopefully the tail end of this pandemic. I can't say we're definitely there, but hopefully we're at the tail end. But here you've opened another center.
And I'm doing in-person things and I'm just telling everybody, and I know like I should be a little bit more strict because I don't want anybody to get COVID. But my rule is that, if you're vaccinated, it's up to you whether you want to wear the mask or not. And if you're unvaccinated, please wear the mask.
There you go. And I've gone back to in person, so I get it. It's just like, I was suffocating with a mask. I'm sorry.
I can't stand the mask, but I also want the virus to go away. I mean, I get it. Like it's this catch. I mean, you're a nurse, you know, like how it all works.
Right.
But to me at this point, I feel like the way it's being handled, and I don't want to get all political, but the way it's being handled isn't necessarily the best way. Forcing people to do things, that's not our country.
Right.
I mean, I want everybody to get the vaccine, but that doesn't mean we get to force our will onto them. We live in the USA. We should have our rights. And yes, it would be great if everybody did it because we're tired of the pandemic, but it would also be great, like if they don't want to get vaccinated, then they just kind of wear a mask.
There you go. And
everybody just was polite that way. Like, okay, I don't want my vaccination. I'm going to wear my mask when I'm in public, and you know, and I'm going to be careful about going into crowds, and like that's all we're asking is everybody to be considerate and thoughtful of each other.
Exactly. And I don't know about your community. Mine doesn't have a mask mandate right now. I mean, just north of us, we do. But in my community, I'm finding more and more people are wearing the mask on their own volition. I mean, they are just choosing to, which is not something that was happening before. You know, I mean, now I'll go in the store and 50% of the people are masked because they want to be. And the other half aren't, and nobody's complaining.
When I was in Huntington Beach, let me just tell you, they weren't wearing the mask. They were going to the beach in large crowds, and nobody was following any of the rules, and Huntington Beach was not enforcing them. It was quite frightening because my husband had cancer and my son had a heart condition, and we were absolutely paranoid, you know, to go anywhere. And we had all had COVID before we even knew what COVID was because we had been traveling out of the country.
Right.
And we got back. It was November 2019.
Mm-hmm.
And then COVID started coming out in March of 2020, but we got it in 2019 at the end of the year.
Right.
My son got it first, the one with the heart condition,
Mm-hmm.
and we had to stay in Florida an extra week because he was so sick.
Wow.
But then we flew home and he was fine and he recovered quite fast. And then I got sick for about 6 weeks, which was quite no fun. Didn't know what it was. And then my husband got it and our whole crew got it in January. And then my daughter got it late January and her roommates called me to come get her in the middle of the night because she refused to go to the ER and could barely breathe. So it was a frightening thing. And then we heard about COVID and we're like, oh my God, that's what we all have had.
Yeah.
Like, so we felt like kind of like we were a little bit inoculated in the beginning. We felt like, but I didn't want to get it a second time because, you know, it's unpredictable.
Right.
And so, you know, the beginning of COVID, we spent a lot of time in our apartment or at our office, which is our office, you know, so there was no people there. And I spent a lot of time sewing.
Oh, wow. I love that.
And eating Oreo cookies.
I did a lot of that. And it's funny because our family did the same thing because there was actually, a lot of people don't know this because COVID is actually a corona. There was a corona before the corona. You know? And literally the December before COVID, my grandson got coronavirus along with RSV and the hospital. The whole house was sick. He was just over not even a year yet. So, I mean, it was just detrimental, you know.
Scary, yeah.
We were afraid we're going to lose him. And then literally 2 months later, we got COVID and we're like, really? Like, now we have to worry about this. And I ended up getting it, you know, and I called up the doctor. They're like, don't even go get tested. Just stay your butt at home. You're a nurse, which is what they did. I laid on my back for 5 weeks, wishy death, you know, like I talk to them all the time. I can talk back to the living. Like,
right. I know. Yeah, I know. It's just crazy.
That's crazy. Made it through it. God bless. I made it through it. But doing the same thing, you know, the same thing. And all of that really makes you look within in your strength and what can I do? What can I push through? You know, because I don't know about yourself, but I do remember at about 4 weeks in going, I knew if I didn't get the muster of the strength to get off that couch and walk to the mailbox. Now our mailbox is, you know, a quarter of a mile away from the house.
Oh my gosh.
So it's, you know, I just went, I got to do this. And I looked at my daughter and I said, please walk me. And she was like, I have to walk. And mustering everything. But that really set the course of this next year of taking those moments to go, I know I need to do this, you know, and I know it's spirit telling me going, you need to push, you need to move on, you need to create a new comfort zone, you know, that type of thing, you know? So, and I love that because it's not something I've always been good at, You
Yeah.
know, so how are you with that, creating those new is it just easy for you? Is it easy for you to
I
consume?
just think it comes natural because of all the moving as a child. Like I had to constantly, and it wasn't as a child, it was not easy. I was always stressed out. I had a severe anxiety. I chewed my nails to the bone. I mean, I just, and I have mild Tourette's, and as a child, my leg would twitch all the time, and especially during testing, and I'd get in trouble. I mean, it was difficult, and I was very, very insecure. Going into my teens and stuff. I mean, I hadn't realized at the time what was happening, but I kind of maybe did, but I'm able to hear people's thoughts when I walk into a room as a
Mhm.
kid. And I was not a popular kid. We were poor. I was a chubby kid. I was called goat and bucktooth beaver because I had 6 teeth that had to be removed. I had a huge overbite.
Oh,
So I
wow.
was severely like teased and everything. And I could hear the thoughts of people and the smirks and
Yeah.
the comments. And so, I mean, I had to learn to shut all that off. And I had to learn to tell myself new thoughts and positive things. And that was a difficult thing to overcome as a teenager. And it really didn't come into play until my late 20s, where I really kind of got my voice, because I was a meek. I know you can't tell now because I'm really outspoken, but I was a quiet person, and I would never say what I really wanted. And I would always just say, whatever you want, whatever you want. And of course, that's how I ended up in an abusive relationship, because I was the perfect wife for an abuser, right? Until I got my voice.
Right. Don't you find do you hear a lot of other mediums with the same story or a similar story or some
Sometimes, yeah.
hardship?
Yeah, I do, and I get a lot of clients that come to
Yeah.
me, and I feel like spirit brought them for a reason, because it's like they have my past
Yeah, I
or
know
they're
you're
in it.
talking and I'm like, "Are you sure you didn't read a book I haven't written yet, Kelley?" Like,
I know I'm in the process of writing a book that starts before I was born.
yeah, I'm
That's what
like,
it's gonna be called, Before I Was Born.
yeah, I love it because I'm just hearing your story and I'm just like, "Wow, wow, Kelley, we need to talk. Like, this is my life you're talking
Yeah.
about."
My first marriage was a difficult one. He attempted to murder me twice.
Oh,
Yeah, and, almost succeeded one time, but my angels gave me the strength to push him off of me, as he had a pillow over my face and was strangling me.
oh, wow.
And I
Yeah,
don't know how I did it, but I got my feet under him and threw him 5 feet through a wall and was
wow,
able to escape out the front door, and then the police were there. Yeah. It was
wow,
amazing. They just said to me, "Don't pass out. Get your feet there. You can do this." And
yeah.
dummy me went back to him
Yeah, I
for
did it with
for
one for
another,
almost 15 years.
and had another child. Yeah.
Yeah, I did it for
Um
almost 15 years, so I get it. Yeah.
Yeah. I just, I wanted to fix everybody, and
Mhm.
I thought I could fix him,
Yeah. Isn't it
but
great?
yeah, you can't fix people that don't wanna be fixed.
You can't, and you look back and you're like,
That's a
"God,
hard
you're worse
lesson,
off than when you started." So
and I had every clue not to marry him, Spirit told me,
yeah,
but I
but we
just
don't
ignored
listen.
those dreams. And then the whole marriage, my first boyfriend died when he was 31, and, I was married, and I had just had my son, and I was going to leave my husband after that first attempt. My son was almost a year old, and I flew to LA with my son and everything you can imagine, because I was like done and he was in jail, and I was like, I'm going to leave. And I had been in contact with my first love, and he was going through a divorce. We both like married right after we broke up. Somebody else,
Right,
but then he wrote me love letters all the time. And I was always, we were talking on the payphone all the time. And I was like, no, I'm married. I'm having a kid, but we can be friends and like all that. But immediately that's where I went. And I
right.
get to LA and I called him, and he was like, I'm dying. I have 6 weeks to live and I don't want to see anybody.
Oh
And
my
I was like, okay. And he died 6 weeks later.
oh,
Yeah. And so that's why I went back, because I
yeah,
thought, well, I have nowhere to go. I have no family. So I had to find my strength in that marriage and my power. And that was difficult. He was a stalker. Um,
right.
he broke into my house. I mean, crazy stuff. But I got my voice. I got my strength. And I'm happy about that, because, I stood up to him, and
Right,
he used the court system to try to hold me down, and I called his bluff.
right. Do you find when you look back, I know with my life, I see it this way, but when you look back on this life you've had, literally from childhood on, and see how much that one spirit's really been there to impact it, But two, it's kind of like when you look back, like, you know what? If I hadn't stayed as long as I did, I wouldn't be where I was at.
Well,
It's
yeah,
almost like everything had to happen.
happened. Oh, it's all so intertwined. You
Yeah,
want to hear the crazy stuff? I love synchronicities.
yeah,
I used to work at the bank when I was like 18 with my first boyfriend, and I worked at Wells Fargo, and this guy, Eric Doctor, I remember his name, Eric Doctor. He was from Sacramento. And I was in LA, and my sister had just moved to Sacramento, and he was going, "You're more of a Sacramento person. You're not an LA person. You're too naive to live here." Because I was very naive.
right.
And I was always getting into trouble because I was like trusting people. And you can't be that way in LA.
Okay. I've
So
never been to California.
Eric and I are he's my buddy. We work together, and we're not like great friends, but we're work friends. And then I break up with my boyfriend, and I'm trying to make it on my own in LA, and I'm 20 years old, and it's hard. And we have 6 people living in this 1-bedroom house, and everybody's doing drugs. And I'm like, I don't need to be here. I need to get out of this situation because it's expensive. And my
Right,
sister's like, I need someone to watch the babies. I'll pay you $100 a week and you get to live room and board free. And I was like, I'm there. Sold
right,
everything I owned, and I moved to Sacramento. And my sister's not easy to work for. I love her, but she was like supposed to be like this, 8 to 5 job, and it was like 6 to 9 at night, and I was doing everything basically. And I was like, okay. So I got married and moved.
okay. What a way to get out. Just get married.
Yeah, I got married, and yeah. But so I then, before I got married though, my sister's neighbor Corey, and I made good friends because she was a stay-at-home mom, and we did everything together with the kids. And she introduced me to Ron, who was my ex-husband.
Right.
And Ron and I are talking, and he's telling me all about his neighbor, his newspaper boy neighbor that he grew up with since kindergarten. His name's Eric Doctor.
Oh, wow.
Because we're both going doctor, because we were talking about like funny names.
Right.
And I was like, I know Eric. So, I mean, talk about synchronistic.
Yeah,
And Ron had worked at a printing company with my husband now. They met each other. And when I went to work at this other company, Cimarron, I met Paul, my husband now, and we went to a Christmas dinner, and I brought my husband, and Paul and my husband are like, oh, hey, we both worked at Herald Printing. And they're like talking. And I'm like, so they all knew each other.
yeah.
Come to find out, years later, my husband now has the same birthday, everything, as my first boyfriend, my first love, Scott. They're both born December 11th, 1964. Both their
Wow.
moms are in Al-Anon. Both their dads are addicts. Like, so synchronistic. My first boyfriend treated me like a princess. My husband, I'd say, treats me like a princess. So I just think, what a weird life.
That is, I love that. I love that. I love that amazingness.
All these synchronistic aligned. I mean, everything happened the way it was supposed to, even though it
Right.
was hard.
Yeah.
Even losing my child, like, I wish that didn't happen, but Spirit told me it was going to happen when he was 4, and I was so angry with Spirit. I didn't believe him,
Yep.
but they told me they were trying to prepare me, I think, in some weird way. Yeah.
Yeah. You know,
So,
and I mean, I don't know if you know, well, you might know this. I didn't lose my daughter, but I should have. She was a technical first DOA of Memorial Weekend 13 years ago now. And we spent a week and a half. She had blew 2 holes in her heart, lost her spleen, technical
oh my,
complete blood loss. She was
I
dead
didn't
on
know
arrival.
this.
Yeah, major heart surgery, and abdominal, to
What
check it all out.
happened?
Huh?
What
It was a
happened?
car accident. It was a car
Oh,
accident. You know how every kid drives before they're 16, and we all have a story? Well, that's my daughter's story. And, and thank God now through hypnosis, she's able to actually remembered it, and it's
oh,
beautiful, not because more healing can happen.
but the spiritual side of it.
The spiritual side of it.
Mhm.
And, but, and God bless, I was able to keep my daughter through it, at least the new daughter. Let's say the new daughter, because she was one daughter before the accident. She very much came out of it a different daughter, because I
Okay.
was told the whole week she was going to die. She was basically dead, is what the doctors told me. You're just, we
Yeah.
did just say you could say goodbye, basically, is what it was. And my daughter's very stubborn and decided to live. She's like, you can't tell me I'm going to die, and a few
Right?
days later we walked out of the hospital. And they're
I
like,
always tell people we have that choice. I don't always believe the doctors. We have that choice.
exactly, and so that was, but for myself, that was my almost awakening. You know what I mean? That was
Oh,
my
yeah.
moment. Having my kids changed me, but I had mine young. So it didn't wake me up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was great. I was playing dolls.
Mhm.
I mean, I will not say I was a great parent until my daughter had her car accident. Um, But that was my awakening to stop and realize, wait a second, I have been hearing spirit throughout my whole life. I
Mhm.
have been hearing them tell me, show me in my dreams. I have been hearing them say, showing me everything that Max was going to do
Mhm.
prior to him doing it. It was
Mhm.
my awakening to go, oh my God, here you go. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So, and then I looked at this journey now to go, oh my God, where are we going from there? You know? So and granted, they're vastly different, but so much the same.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I hear from a lot of people. Our lives are just so much, so
A
involved,
lot.
you
Yeah.
know?
A lot.
And you're really the first person to come on and say, you know what? Life has not been pretty.
But I love my life.
Me too. You
And
know?
I mean, I'm not gonna let that, discourage me, I'm not gonna let it hold me back or, embrace this life because this is not my first life, and I know that one of the things I came here remembering and knowing is that, it's precious, and we need to embrace every moment, even the hard moments, because they're all part of, our life lessons. They're all part of what we're supposed to be learning here, and, and it's all part of it. Like, we can't have the good moments without the bad. It's
Right.
an ebb and flow. It's got to be there. And so, even though things are difficult, we could still find the bright light in those difficult moments. And that's something that I think I was naturally born with. I'm
Right.
the eternal optimist. It drives some people nuts, like my husband, when he just wants to complain, and I'm finding a positive in it.
I love that though. That's awesome. I try to do that all the time. It's like
Yeah.
somebody
I
was
don't
calling people derogatory terms, and I was like, okay, wait a second. Let's look at the positive. And there is nothing good about that
There's
word.
always a
And
positive.
I'm
There's
like,
always.
if you take the word back to 200 years ago when it came about, that was a hard working individual with pride and loyalty and blah blah. And they're looking at me like, you're crazy. And I'm like, let's look at the positive.
It's a coping mechanism for me to be
Yeah.
positive because, in my childhood, it was not an easy childhood. And I could have just easily gone into like depression or drug addiction, like some of my other siblings, and
Yeah.
or suicidal or whatever, because
Right.
we didn't have a very easy childhood and we
Right.
weren't around good people. I
Mhm.
mean, growing up in Venice, we were, beach in the 70s, like our daycare was the beach. My mom dropped us off at 7 in the morning and we had to make our way home, or she'd pick us up at 6 o'clock at night. And she left $20 for the day for 4 kids to eat
Oh, wow.
at the beach. And so, we grew up on McDonald's
Right.
and,
And the beach. And I heard
and,
Venice is quite a lively place.
well, there was a lot of drugs, a lot
Yeah.
of drinking. Everybody started drinking and doing drugs very early. I had a lot, most of my friends started doing drugs and drinking in like fourth and fifth grade.
Wow.
It was fend for yourself. You had a bike, you better watch it because it was going to get stolen. You
Wow.
know, and if it got stolen, you were gonna have to steal it back.
It's not
And
good.
skateboards, you got to watch your skateboard, roller skates, everything got stolen. You had to be, it was just sort of the way we lived. And
Right.
um,
I mean, and I'm not laughing at the story, but I remember my childhood. I look back and it's just like I giggle at my childhood. It's not to that point. It's
yeah,
got different variables.
yeah,
But people look at me like that's not funny. I'm like,
but it
it's my
is.
life. It is. It's my I find humor in it because if I didn't, those are good memories. Oh my God, I had to steal
I
my
had a
book back
great
and I had
childhood.
to
I
I had
mean,
to I had
yeah,
to
I had
figure out how to
fun.
do it. It was a blast doing it, the excitement, the rush. And it was like, you're crazy. No, it's your life.
We always lost our house keys. So I know how to, I used to know how to break into just about any window or any door,
Right.
because that's how we would get in the house because my mom was like, I'm not giving you house keys anymore. Figure it out, and, we were just, we roamed the streets and we were little like hooligans. And
Right.
we were troublemakers, but we didn't have parents. Like, it wasn't just us. It was like the whole community.
Did your upbringing then help you to make the decision to unschool your son?
What I have to say that my kindergarten years. Okay, so I went to 3 kindergartens.
Yeah,
Long story, but
I went to 2. You got me beat.
one of the schools I went to was kind of an unschooling program, and it was in
Okay,
the 70s, and the unschooling's been around since the 60s, maybe even longer.
okay.
The philosophy is very similar to, basically how everyone learned about 100 years ago. You learn by having a need and a want and a desire, and it kind of comes into your life and you just learn.
Okay.
So I have gifted children, and my first child, he skipped 2 grades right away. He finished kindergarten when he was 3. He started talking at 5 months old.
Wow.
Started reading when he was 3. Knew the math, used to add the groceries up at 2 years old and to a penny almost. While I was shopping, I would throw out the numbers and he'd add them up. It was our game. I mean, he was a brilliant child. He had the vocabulary of like a 7-year-old at 1 year old. And, so he did really well in preschool, but when he got to elementary school, they only would skip him 2 grades. They didn't have a special program for highly gifted children. And so I homeschooled him for a semester, and that was horrible because we just fought, him and I. He's very stubborn. and they wanted to medicate him, and I don't believe in medication.
Right.
Because, when gifted kids get bored, they're
naughty.
Going to cause trouble. He got kicked out of a Christian school in kindergarten because he flipped off the principal. And he was a mouthy, but he was always right. He corrected teachers, and they didn't like him. So he was a handful. So they skipped in 2 grades, and then by the time he's 10, he's getting stoned in school at the daycare. So I, put him back in his grade level. I took him out of middle school at 10 years old and put him into regular. I took him back 2 grades. I'm like, you're going into 5th grade. You're not going to be in 8th grade or 7th grade or whatever. And, then I went through, my daughter's gifted, but she is the kind that's really good and got all these awards for being the best student and like the kiss butt, right? Kid. And then I had Aiden, and he's already exhibiting the same behavior as his older brother. So I thought I need a new way, and I discovered unschooling on a TED Talk.
Oh, okay.
And then I started watching all these YouTube videos, and I lived in Huntington Beach, and there's a huge unschooling community.
Right.
And Aiden said to me, he was 5, and he's like, Mom, I hate school. Can I just be homeschooled or something lame like that? And I was like, okay. And the nanny was like helping us, and she used to take him to school, and she's like, the teacher's awful. She yells at him. Wow. Because he's mouthy. And I'm like, yeah, I've had one of those. So I talked to my husband, and we went to a synopsis on this big thing. It was like right at the beginning of the year on unschooling, and met all these families. And I was like, this is what we're supposed to do. And he was like, yeah, everyone's going to think we're crazy. I'm like, but who cares? Do we ever care what people think? And he's like, nope. So he was the perfect husband and the perfect father for this, because he supported me 100%. And it was a scary time, because you're like, is he ever going to learn to read? Is he ever going to learn anything? Well, let me just tell you, the kid's like a profoundly gifted writer. His vocabulary is out of the world. Like, we had to look up words he was saying when he was like 7, because we didn't understand what he was talking about. Right. He's a phenomenal gamer, game designer. He knows all this software. Like, he could get a job for a game company right now, and he's 14. So it was the right move for us. And when he wanted to go to regular high school, I was scared, because I thought he's not going to fit in. He's behind in math, because he's behind in math because he never cared about it, Right. So we did some tutoring for like a year and a half, and they said he's grade level, everything or above, like he's college level mostly. Right. So he started this year, and he's in regular school, and it's been like 6 weeks, and he just got his progress report, and it's all A's and B's.
Oh, wow. Congratulations, Aiden.
I'm like, what? And he's making friends. He's never had a friend.
Yeah, that is so cool.
He went to a friend's house the other day, and literally it's probably like the first time he's ever done that. And he said to me, he goes, that's the first time in a long time I've ever gone to go hang out with a friend's house. I said, honey, you've never done that. You always come to our house, and they never stay very long because he's annoying. But he's not too annoying anymore, right? We've done a lot of work. He's been through a lot of social skills classes,
And that's just it. You find that with children that are very gifted. I'm not going to say they're annoying, but
he was annoying.
They're ahead. I don't want to tell my son he was annoying, but they're ahead. You know what I mean? They're ahead. They're always ahead.
Well, he said the things that the kids his age didn't understand. Yeah. But we put him in a Waldorf school, which is very closely aligned with unschooling in many ways. And I think it was a great transition. And a lot of the kids were either in the school since kindergarten, or they're new like him, and they were homeschooled or unschooled. And one of his teacher is an unschooling parent. So they really understand him, and they embrace him, and he loves it.
I love that. I love that. Oh my God. And congratulations. Cause I know that's another leap of faith to say, hey,
It was scary.
we're going to take this genius of a child and make him stupid. No, we got to have faith that we're not going to do that. Cause that would have been my thought,
I
and
was always afraid.
that's why I didn't do it with my son. You know what I mean? Because I was like, my son's an engineer. And I keep asking him, when are you going to go to school to be an engineer? He's like, Mom, I got the job. I'm like, weren't you supposed to go to school for this? He's like, Mom, I mean, it's just his brain,
Yeah.
you understand it.
Yeah.
I was terrified to pull my son out and school him that way. And anyway, because I was like, I'm going to make a brilliant kid stupid.
That was my fear. But then I saw what school did to my older son, who was brilliant. They made him insecure. He bit his nails. He started doing drugs at an early age. That's what happens to highly gifted kids to go to public school, because public schools don't understand them, and they label them not as gifted, but as troublemakers.
Yep. And that's just it. If I would start having children again and I seen the same tendencies that I had with my first two, I would have pulled them out.
Yeah.
I mean, I did finally with my daughter in 9th grade, so she did all of high school because of the accident in 1 year.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, all 4 years in 1 year, and she didn't start until, her senior year. So
yeah.
I mean, I understand that, but congratulations and kudos to being able to have that faith to do that.
Oh, it was scary, but I feel like spirit was drawing me that way.
Yeah.
And what was even scarier is they were telling me he was dyslexic and he was never going to learn to read if I didn't pay them all this money and do all this stuff. And I just let it all go. And within 6 months of them telling me he was dyslexic, he was reading college level.
Wow. That's awesome.
So I'm like, And you know how he figured out how to read? Minecraft.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Gaming and chatting. I started a server. Yeah. And, and we did a lot of homeschooling classes on Minecraft.
Yeah.
In Disneyland. That. We did homeschooling classes at Disneyland, which was a blast.
But
he learned how to read from Minecraft because someone stole his diamonds.
Wow. So he had to find them. And that, but that makes sense.
I was in the chat and I see him come back after he was killed. He's like, give me back my diamonds now. I was like, how did you learn how to type that? He's like, I got mad. He was like 6.5, almost 7. Oh, and he, and it was kind of like every time I had a fear, he did something like that. And it was like, okay, I'm relaxed. Like, I got to trust.
I love that. That. Now you're an author of one book already, right?
Yeah.
Just one? How is
Not
that?
Myself. I'm a co-author. I wrote one chapter.
I love
chapter 33. Yeah.
I had Teresa on also, so I got to hear about it. So I was super excited.
What?
Teresa Sampson was on.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. And oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank on the name of the book, and I have a whole bunch of them.
Breathe. Ooh, breathe. I can't remember it. Oh my
God. True stories. Wait. Last Breath. The Last Breath, True Stories of Mediumship in the Afterlife. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I wrote chapter 33, and mine's really about believing and grieving. It's what it's called. And it's about how, my understanding and my spiritual belief kind of helped me through my grief and my family.
Yeah. I love that.
I mean, we all wrote different stories. I love the book because everybody's story is different. And I love the way Allison grouped our chapters, because she kind of put things together in kind of groups the way they belong. Like, you'll read all the grieving parent medium stories together, and there's all of the near-death experiences together, and like a lot of things. There's suicide together. Like, it's very interesting, but there's so many different perspectives and views, and people, some of the other mediums wrote exercises. It's a fascinating book. I mean, I know there's a lot of compilation books. I particularly love this one though, because of the way it's got like such a different, like there's something for everybody, because the people that were part of it we're all so unique and different, which I think people are in life. So, one book sometimes isn't one book for everybody, just like there's not one medium for everybody, right?
Right, exactly. And it's kind of like this. And I love the fact that, because when like Teresa told me about the book, because, we brought her on and had her talk about it, it fascinated me, because that's one of the reasons why the premise of my show is to bring people on to say, you know what, we all started someplace. We all need something. We all have that needing an understanding, you know what I mean? And bringing people on to tell all their stories there's going to be how many people are going to just resonate with you know what I mean, in your story. And I think that book does the same thing. I really do.
Yes.
I really
Somebody
do.
can find something. Even the skeptic might enjoy the book. I feel like. And we've got a couple of skeptics that put reviews on there. They were like, somebody in their family gave it to them and they thought it was a bunch of, but they read it. So
Yeah.
I love that. I'm proud of it, and
Yeah.
it's encouraged me to, start working on the book that I've wanted to work on for years, which I've got the name, it's in my head, and I've got the chapters written out in my head. So I bought some software that helps you kind of organize your book.
Okay. You're
Yeah.
gonna
And
have to send me the software because I've
yeah,
already got the name. They've showed me the end and I've outlined the chapters because that's what they've
yeah.
given me so far. And I'm like, and I've
Mine's
given
like
some
a
guidelines.
timeline. It's called, I'm pretty sure I'm going to call it Before I Was Born.
I love
What I
that.
learned before I was born from Spirit.
Yeah. I love
But
that.
I'm pretty sure it's something along that line. And yeah, and it starts on my last life where I died.
Oh, I love that though. That
Yeah,
is so
but I
awesome.
feel like everything, every chapter is going to be like a certain part of my life, but it's also like the lessons I learned, and
Yeah.
it's about why I feel like, we have to keep our thoughts positive, and we have to find the good even in the hard times, even death. You
Yeah.
know, it's about all that, and it's hard to find something good when you lose a child. It's hard to find the positive in that,
Yeah. And
and
that's hard.
I had to force myself, but it was important for my survival,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
because I could have just got sucked into like, my life's over, my son died, and how could this happen to me? And why would the universe do this to me? I mean, those are, because that's
Mhm.
where, some people went in my family,
Yeah.
but that's not me.
Yeah. And and it's with you bringing that up, I don't know about yourself, but and I'm sure you have a lot of people that gravitate to you as a medium because they've had lost children,
Yeah, and
and I
it's
know.
hard.
Yeah, it is, and I know because my daughter's car accident, I have a lot that come to me in that aspect, or
Yeah.
children that were lost due to miscarriages,
Oh, yeah, me too.
and it's always and the story never changes. It never changes from the other side. One, it's not your fault. Two, thank you for the sacrifice of your life for
Mhm.
me to have the experience that I needed. You
Yes.
know what I mean? And
Yes.
I'm sorry that you're grieving because you sacrificed this part, but this is all I needed and wanted, and you gave it all to me. And
Mhm.
the story never changes. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? From spirit to spirit to spirit. And it's so beautiful when you hear a spirit say that to a mom. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? And it always makes me tear up every time. It doesn't matter how many times I've heard that,
Yeah.
but it's always so beautiful.
Yeah,
You
it is. It's a great thing. And I usually can hold it together for most of the readings now, but not in the beginning.
Yeah.
But now I can. But there's always that one reading every so often where I'm just overtaken by emotions and I'm holding it in. And
Yeah.
I end up crying with the mother
And we're not
because
supposed to do that,
I know, and it's
know?
so hard, but it's something sometimes that really touches like a spot in me.
Mhm.
And I'll tell Spirit, stop doing this to me. I'm not supposed to cry.
I can remember that's happened to me once where I actually started crying, and it actually happened when, a grandfather had come in to apologize to this lady because he knew his son was doing all this physical and, sexual abuse to her, and he didn't stop it. And he
Yeah.
was, coming in to apologize. Well, that's part of my life, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
And I can remember I'm like, and I'm crying, and she starts crying, and when the reading was done, she goes, "You touched me so beautifully." She goes, "But I don't know if I was crying because you were, because they were actually," and I'm like, "Man, I ruined." But you know what? It's again,
I'm
spirit.
sure she was crying because it touched her
Yeah,
too, but she probably had a hard time with her emotions. A lot of people do.
and that's exactly it,
And
but
so it was
again,
probably good that you cried because she needed to cry.
yeah, I needed to cry
Crying
too,
is a
though.
release of energy.
Yeah,
And if we can't cry, then we're like holding that in,
yeah,
that energy in, and it's stuck energy in us and we need to release it, right?
right.
And I love that thought. That's what I always tell people, because my husband always used to get so upset when I'd cry. And he was like, don't let the kids hear you. And I'm like, why?
Yeah,
Like,
I
why,
didn't
honey?
want
Like,
to.
why can't we cry in front of the kids? Because it'll upset them. Well, why can't they get upset?
Mhm.
But he was brought up that way. And so it's always been a thing for him. But I'm like, no, I am going to cry when I want to cry. And if it makes somebody uncomfortable, they need to look at themselves and why that makes them uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And why does grief make people so uncomfortable to talk about?
Yeah.
Why? I
Yeah.
mean, it's okay to talk about death and the sadness, and it's okay for somebody to cry and you to say, you know, I'm sorry or whatever. I mean, those are all part of life, but we've brought up in the society where it's like brushed under the rug and it's like we're not supposed to show our emotions.
Right.
But
And
why?
all the stages of it. There's so
Yeah.
many stages, you know, and they're all so normal.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I've noticed that after my son died, you know, of course, energetically, I've shifted, I've changed, and all my medium friends can feel it. And so I've noticed people react differently to me than they used to when I go to events or when I go to, you know, workshops. Sometimes people avoid me like the plague because
Right.
they know they don't want to read for me. You know what I mean? I think they're afraid it makes them uncomfortable. Not everybody, but I've noticed that. And so I
Right.
typically will seek those people out to read for me.
I love it. I love it.
And it's so funny because they won't get my son. They'll like bring everybody but my son. And he's there. He's like, Mom, they're just not listening. I go, just keep pushing them.
Yep.
And so it's something in them makes them uncomfortable. They need to I always feel like if something makes me uncomfortable, I need to find out why it makes me uncomfortable. It's not the person. It's something in me.
Yeah.
What is it triggering? Because
Yep.
that's part of my healing. So I like being pushed out of my comfort zone and being forced to look at myself. That's what
Yeah.
my husband did for me when we first got together. He really pushed me out. He called me out of my whatever, you know.
Right. Oh,
He was
you
not
said
putting
the
up
word
with
there.
anything.
I find that's really I call myself like the unfiltered medium or unfiltered person because I don't know how not to swear. I would never go in an actual church aspect because I'd be like, F this. It wouldn't be pretty.
Right. I know we're terrible at my house.
I'd be a sinner before I got to the front door.
Yeah.
I love it. So can you share some of the events you have coming up?
Oh yeah, I have For Earth Angels event coming up on the 23rd. It's Saturday the 23rd. Yeah, I'm so excited. I'm doing that with Kat Divine, Kimberly Meredith, and Cheryl Murphy. And it's our third event together, and we're very excited. We have more planned, but it's a 2-hour event, and we're going to do readings and healings and I don't know if anybody knows Kimberly Meredith, but she's an amazing healer. And during the whole event, she's like uplifting the whole audience. It's like you can feel it.
Oh,
It's a
wow.
very cool event. Yeah. So and the tickets are only $22. So if anybody's
so
interested,
cool.
that's forearthangels3.eventbrite.com.
I
And
love
the 4
that.
is number 4.
I love that.
Yeah.
I also want to promote the other event that's going on for Allison because
Yes.
I want
That's the
everybody and
next one.
anybody to go in there and buy tickets.
Yes, we are doing a big mediumship. What would you call it?
Collaboration of so many great people.
Yeah, there's a lot of mediums involved, and the
Yes.
tickets are really affordable.
Yeah.
And there's going to be a lot of readings given that day, and there's also going to be an auction because we've all donated readings to be auctioned off to help raise money for her, and she definitely needs it. She's very sick. Allison's, if anybody doesn't know, Allison Gannon is a huge, I would say she's a huge person in our spiritual community. She brings everybody together. She brings a lot of teachers here. She does a lot of teaching herself. She's just a beautiful soul. And you know, she's got stage 4 cancer right now. It's her 3rd or 4th time having the cancer. So it is the end stage. And you know, there is good news. With treatment, she could live up to another 10 years, you know, possibly.
Yeah.
Right. But it's getting the treatment, and it's right now she's dealing also with other issues involved with the cancer, which is mold exposure, which she previously had. And so she's dealing with both of these things at the same time. And she's not giving up. She's a fighter.
She is.
And she's doing some experimental things, and she's not able to work. So any money that we can help raise for her is helpful.
Right.
Because experimental treatments are not cheap and they're not covered.
Right. And and you know what? I will later on put, for anybody that wants to know Allison's GoFundMe page, I'll put it up in the comments. If anybody wants to donate, we'll also put up the event for it. I want to let you know, I don't know everybody that's on there. I'm just going to start with like some famous people. I believe Cindy Gaz is part of it. John, who was
Thomas John.
Thank you. I'm horrible with names.
Me too. Me too.
But so, I'll tell you what, they have collaborated some amazing mediums. We're not talking about necessarily just the person that lives on the corner. We're talking they brought names of people that Allison has worked with in this industry to come together. So you are going to get a whole lot of buck for your dollar in this, guys.
Yes.
Where you might pay a lot of money for a reading on an individual basis, they're really donating their time just for this cause. So please go to it. Again, I will put everything in the comments after the fact so you can have a link to these things. And it's going to be a great time. It's going to be, even if you can't show up for the day for readings, donate. That's what I plan on doing, is buying a ticket and not showing up because I'm busy.
Oh, that's a good idea. I should just buy a ticket.
Yeah. I'm just buying a ticket. I don't even know if I can show. And the cool thing is you can buy a ticket. It's an all-day event, everybody. But you don't have to be there all day. You can show up for half an hour. You can show up for an hour. You can show up for 8 hours, whatever you want, or buy a ticket and don't even show up,
But it's going to be amazing. There are like Cindy Kaza, Thomas John, Colin Bates. Gosh, I'll be doing readings too, along with some other. I can't even think of everybody either. There was a lot of people.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome. I'm really excited to be part of it, and I know Cheryl Murphy has really coordinated and put this all together. She put a lot of work, and she's also one of the mediums. I'm gonna also be helping with some of the technical a little bit. I think I volunteered for that. Because they need people to help. So it's going to be on Zoom too. So it doesn't matter where you're at, you can show up and go. And hopefully, because it's such a long period of time, even if you're in another country, you'll be able to find a time to show up and get some readings.
Yeah. And I love that. And bless you guys for putting this on for her. It is so amazing when I seen it popped up. I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
So how can people find you? How can they find you?
mediumkelley.com, and it doesn't matter how you spell my name because I bought them all and they all go to my website. Because nobody gets my name spelled right. It's actually Kelley, as you see here, but everybody does it without the E. So, but it's just mediumkelley, KELLEY.com. But if you put without the E, you'll get to me. If you put with the IE, you'll get to me. If you put, I think, what was the other one? I bought 3 or 4 different ones.
Well, I think that's what I like about my name. There's only like 700 of us since they actually started like documenting names. So in the United States, there's only like 700 or so. There's actually a Facebook.
Is it French?
Yeah. It is French. And it's, if you're in America, it's called DeEtte. If you're in French, it's DeEtte. Some people call it DeEtte. You know what I mean? Depending on where you're at. And
how do you like it said?
It depends where I'm at. If you when I go north, if I'm in like more indigenous Native American or French, it's DeEtte, and I expect it to be called DeEtte, and I love it. So when I'm in the Northwoods, that's what for the next 2 days I'm going to Northwoods, so I'll be called DeEtte, and it is what it is. If I go more south, it's DeEtte. I won't lie to you, growing up, I hated DeEtte. I thought it was boring. I thought it was like having a club foot or something.
No, it's beautiful. I love your name. Do you not have a middle name though? What's the middle name?
Ranae. And I say Ranae. My daughter says,
so that's
Ranae.
your middle name.
That's my middle name. Yeah, I didn't get rid of it. My last name is still there. Energetically, I don't feel it anymore. It's actually part of a segment of my life because I was half adopted. So my father gave up rights to me. Okay. Another man adopted me. And we didn't have the most blessed relationship. It was kind of like, think about being part of the prize when somebody got married, and when the divorce happened, you really were just kind of the leftover thing, and that's how I felt most of my life with him.
Yeah.
So when he died, I literally went, God bless him. I'm glad he's transitioned. I'm happy he's not in pain anymore. But I went contract null and void. He did too, because he wrote me off 40 hours before he died. We're good. Everything. We were on the same page. But that name didn't resonate with me anymore.
And I get that.
It didn't resonate. So I stopped using it for all purposes except for legal. Even when I sign it, energetically, it went to some sort of an S. That's not really an S. And and I've always had this great penmanship. and it's nothing anymore. It's like Spirit said, "Just stop." And it was weird because when energetically I stopped using it, literally my business got better, I got better, I got a voice, I went from being a follower to being a leader. Even I had a palmistry reading done yesterday.
That's
The guy
awesome.
goes, "Oh my God, like 3 years ago, 4 years ago, you flipped and your hands even show it."
That's
So
awesome.
it was really that. So
Yeah.
yeah, and I
My
had
sister did something similar, but
yeah.
she took on our grandmother's maiden name.
Oh,
Because
beautiful.
she didn't like our name, and after she'd been married twice and divorced twice, she did not want to go back to my maiden name's Minkler.
Yeah,
She didn't resonate with it. So
yeah,
she went and we've always resonated with the family Bible and looking at the history. And so she liked Beckwith. And so she changed her name to Beckwith, and that's her new
yeah,
name. And it
beautiful.
suits her. It actually suits her. I like it.
Yeah, and that's just I haven't I've toyed with my birth last name, I've toyed with family names, and I just went, right now I'm just DeEtte Ranae. That's who I am, and it fits me. And I keep telling people, one thing I had embraced about myself is, well, God darn it, I'm unique. I am original. I'm one of a kind, and
Yeah,
my name
you
shows
are.
it.
And your name, it does.
It shows
I'm
it.
so happy. I love my last name now. I love my husband's last name.
Yes,
I don't know why. I just like it.
I do. I like it too, though. It's very pretty. I can almost see it in cursive or like
Yeah.
calligraphy, and how it'd be gorgeous. It's
And
gorgeous.
everybody says it differently, but it's just Eckhart.
Yeah, I said it 2
Eckhart.
ways.
It's
At the
like
beginning of
Eck
the show,
and then
Eckhardt,
Hart.
Eck something. I'm like, I'm not
But it has
sure.
so many letters in it.
Yeah.
I get Eckhardt.
Oh, there you go. That's a new one.
People say Eckhardt.
That's a new one.
And I'm like,
I would
yeah,
get it.
okay. But I
They're
mean, it's
just
just
Canadian.
Eckhart. I don't know. I think I like it because it has heart in it.
I
The
love
word
that.
heart. Even though
I
it's not spelled that way, you can hear that. I hear heart.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. And I love how you embrace that. We always have to embrace who we are,
Yeah. I mean, I just think like I kept my married name for years because of the kids.
Yeah.
And then Paul and I didn't get married until 2014. We'd been together almost 10 years before we decided to get married.
Oh,
So I was very happy to be done with that last name
wow. I love it.
because it is an energetic kind of like pull,
Yeah, it is.
But I wanted to respect my children.
Yeah.
So.
I get it because I used mine until literally,
Yeah, they were older though.
20, dad died. Yeah, we're good. We can get rid of it.
They were all very happy. I mean, my husband raised them, so they love him like he's dad.
There you go.
Yeah,
It's perfect.
It's a great thing.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Kelley.
Thank you.
You have blessed me by coming in. I am so happy to spend this morning with you.
Well, thank you for having me. I loved it.
Oh, I'm glad. I'm glad.
With you.
You have such a beautiful story, and I'm so happy you shared it. So many people are going to resonate and go, oh my God, my life has meaning. Yeah, it does.
It does. I mean, there's a reason. We have to find it, though.
Yep.
That's part of the lesson, huh?
It is. It is. And it's funny because as we're talking, and Spirit's like, your office is done. We checked everything. Now you have to write the book. And now they're writing the book in my head. I'm like, no.
Yes, that's kind of what's going to me. I've got like 4 years where I'm going to stay in one place. There's no excuse. Yep. I've got this beautiful office. Now it's just working on my structure.
That's perfect. Perfect. Yeah. We'll have to exchange copies and see what happens.
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful. Well, you have a beautiful day. Thank you
too.
Again.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. Everybody, this is DeEtte Ranae with Schooled Thru Spirit on WLTK-DB. I'll be back in a few moments with your weekly reading.
We are living in rapidly changing times that can leave you wondering what steps to take next. Let Christina Bloom, spiritual advisor, help you find the clarity you need to move forward with confidence. Christina is a psychic with more than 20 years of experience in spiritual guidance and mediumship. She can help you find the answers when you have important decisions to make. In addition, she also facilitates past and other life explorations and soul retrievals. For more information on Christina's services, as well as her extensive list of classes, please visit her website at ChristinaBloom.com. That's ChristinaBloom.com. To make an appointment or to book Christina now, send her an email, Christina@ChristinaBloom.com. That's Christina@ChristinaBloom.com.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. This is DeEtte Ranae here on Schooled Thru Spirit with WLTK-DB Talk Radio. I have had the most joyous, beautiful time speaking with Kelley Eckhardt this morning. I don't know about you, I learned so much about her. Oh my gosh, our lives resonate. We could sit down and talk, and it would just be like, wow, wow, wow. I just know it would be. So I'm really hoping that her sharing her story has really helped you to understand you, or maybe giving you a reason just to keep going, pushing through and finding your own purpose in life if you haven't quite found it yet. I am doing the cards this morning for your weekly reading. Again, I am using the Intuitive Soul Oracle deck with Lisa Williams here. This is the only time this imaging on the computer works is when I hold this up. It's not backwards, so I hope you can see this and read it. Unfortunately, if you have not found this deck, you may not find it. If you do find one, truly know that you are blessed because they are far and few between anymore. But I love those cards. I love the simplicity. I wish you'd write 5 more decks because I love, love, love these cards. They're great for all stages of beginners, intermediate, advanced, way advanced, professional. They're fabulous for all card readings. I'm hearing 5, so let's do 5 cards today. With that being said, this is how this game rolls. This game. Well, it's not really a game, it's just card reading. But pick a number 1 through 5. Okay, this is what we're doing for the week. Something to resonate for you, something to work on, something to understand. You can pick 1 number, 2 number, you can pick all 5 if you'd like. You can at the end put everything that each card says together for a full reading for yourself and base everything for the week on that. So we're going to do 5 on that. When I get done with that, I am hearing we have to do a clarification card again. And I'm using the Divine Feminine Oracle card deck with Megan Watterson for that. And that is just the Divine Feminine cards, different feminine ladies, goddess type ladies, Ascended Masters. It's all in there. Beautiful deck again, but it's a clarification card that can go individually with each card or all of them as a reading, okay? So let's do this. Shake, rattle, and roll. So the first card I've got is Playground. Do you see that? It is the Youth Playground, Inner Child. Fun and laughter, guys. Oh my gosh, we need this card so bad. Okay. If you picked number 1 as your card, it is the playground. This is your time to really start enjoying this process. Do you remember when we started today? I was talking about Mercury has gone direct. Life is getting better. You know, it's been hardship. It's been hard. It's been kicking our butts for the most part. This is your time to just let go. Allow that child to come out, play, have fun. Sometimes we need to do that in order to find ourselves, okay? But truly enjoy that card and all that that's about. Card number 2, communication, taking action, listening, and opinionated. I can't help but laugh because I can't make this shit up. I can't. I just get to live it and love it. So again, communication. We are working on communication. If number 2 is your thing, you might have had over the last few weeks a lot of breakdowns in communication with others, with yourself, with your job, whatever. It is your time to really start listening now. Start listening. Hear what others have to say. Hear what you have to say. What your mind is saying. What your gut is saying. Really start to listen. Okay. Start to take action on what you're hearing. Okay. This is the time for that. Communication is really important, but it's not just communication. It's not just always talking with somebody else. A lot of times communication is just listening and here, listening to what spirit has to say. Okay. So if you pick number 2, it is time for you to take action on what you're listening about. Number 3, the yes card. I love this. What have you been looking at doing? What have you been thinking about? What have you been pondering on a question? What have you been pondering on what you do or don't want to do with your life? Whatever it is, yes. Yes, yes, yes. This card says yes. Now is the time. The door is opening. It is time for you to open that door, seek those answers. Know that you know what, it is time for you to jump on what it is you've been wanting to do. It is time for you to ask those questions. It is time for everything. whatever it might be in life that you're going, I need to know, I need to express, I want to do this. Should I do this? The answer is yes. Okay. Card number 4 is freedom. Freedom. Freedom, being yourself, releasing ties from the past, setting yourself free. Gorgeous card, isn't it? Gorgeous card. Looking at this card, I just love how I see the lady dancing up there. Okay. She's dancing beautifully. Your dancing might be acting a fool. I don't know. But it really is letting go, allowing yourself to be you. Allowing yourself to be you. I had a lot of discussions about this yesterday with some people at an event. And I will tell you what, when you allow yourself to be you, when you allow yourself to take off this suit that you have been wearing around for years, something that is not you, something that doesn't feel right to you, when you take that off and you allow yourself this freedom to be who you are, your whole life changes. Everything about you changes. You know, you just become a just dynamic, amazing person and you start to like yourself. Okay. So this time, if you pick the card number 4, this is your time to be free. It is time for you to say, you know what? I don't have to pretend anymore. You know what? Um, I'm a 40-some-year-old woman and I love playing with Barbies. And that's not me, but if it's you, allow yourself to be it and take pictures of you with Barbies and put it on Facebook. I don't care. Whatever it is, it is. But allow yourself to be free. Allow yourself to be yourself. Okay. Now, the 5th and final is a pure innocence, clarity, belief, honesty, and truth. I talk really fast, don't I? Pure. It is purity. It is innocence, clarity, belief, honesty, and truth. Boy, these cards are saying something today, aren't they? You can't make this up. These are answers to a lot of people. But if you pick number 5 today, it is time for you to be true, very true within yourself. Be honest of who you are, what your beliefs are, and believe in yourself. Be clear on this. No more doubts. No more doubts. Okay? This is you. Remember yourself as a child. Did you want to be, could you see yourself being a fireman, climbing those ladders, rescuing the lady in distress, puffing on the flowers, the fires to put them out? You had such clarity as a child of what you wanted to be. Get that clarity back. Believe in who you are. Okay? If you pick number 5, believe in yourself like you did as a child. Believe in yourself. It's time. Okay, so number 1 was the playground card. It is really looking at that inner child playing laughter. Just, let yourself go. Let yourself have fun. Number 2 was the communication card. It's taking action, learning how to listen to yourself, listen to spirit, listening to others, learning how to speak with more of a clarity, allowing yourself to be heard based on what this belief is, and really taking action on those things. Number 3 was the yes card, guys. Yes. The answer is yes. It's time for you to do things. Number 4 is that freedom card. Is the soul freedom, being yourself, allowing yourself to be true, taking off that I just heard that muggle suit. Take off the muggle suit. Yes, I'm a Harry Potter freak. Harry Potter and Baby Yoda. Join the nation, right? But take off that muggle suit. Let the magic of you come out and soar. And just set yourself free. Number 5 was the pure card, which really is honesty, truth, being yourself, just believing in yourself. All so dynamic, all so amazing. Okay. And the clarification card from the divine feminine is the Queen Esther, the morning star. My ego is the service of my soul, is in the service of my soul, and I trust my soul's divine timing. Okay, can you guys see that? Queen Esther, the morning star. I love how she says that I trust my soul's divine timing. Everything is happening for a reason, guys. Everything is. It doesn't matter how bad or good things are. If it's bad right now, it'll be good again. If it's good right now, it'll be bad again. Why? Because we need it all for growth. We need it all for beautiful timing, and everything happens for a reason. Okay? And divine timing. Something's got your back. So I hope that helps you with this reading for the week. As always, I'm going to put it up in the comments. So I'm going to take this picture right now before I forget to take the picture because we all know what I do. I forget and then it goes bye-bye in my head, and life is not good when it goes bye-bye in my head. I got to take another one. That would really kind of suck. There we go. Um, with that being said, so guys, so much is happening this week. So much is happening. My life is rocking and rolling. Um, so much is going on, so much is happening, and so much is going forward. Okay, so let's talk. Todd, can you put in the comments the name of Missy and Nicole's new show coming up and the day and time it's going to be on? I would appreciate that so I can talk about that a little bit. Um, but I need to do this. So I'm going to bring up in my pictures, size of my pictures, and it's only because you know what? My memory sucks, I swear, it just sucks. So let's talk about the show lineup for the week, okay? Because we got some amazing shows, so much is more happening. And I will tell you, I will tell you, if you ever wanted your own platform, if you ever wanted your own show, oh my gosh, the sun is coming in so beautifully. If you ever wanted all of that, this is a place to do it. Why? We are growing station. It's getting bigger, it's getting brighter, it's getting bolder. And I have a goal that my producer will have nothing better to do in his life than to sit at the station that he has created, and do shows and do what he loves until he hates it. Nah, he'll never hate it. He'll always love it. So let's keep growing the station. And by doing that, not only is listening to us, tuning into our shows and watching them or listening to them, but it's also come on board, get your own show. Go to the station, WLTK-DB. And I will tell you what, you're going to come in, you're going to talk. There's packages starting as low as $25 a month. There's no contracts. You can cancel whenever you feel like. So if you start it, you go, oh, this really isn't for me. You can jump off too. You can get back on whatever you'd like to do. So please, if you ever wanted to form a platform, please reach out and do that. You can create that awesome. It's also a fabulous place to do advertisement. Absolute amazing place to do advertisement. Okay. It's really cheap compared to anything else you can go for. You can advertise yourself, your book, I don't care if you are the bug exterminator. Todd will make that commercial freaking amazing and send it everywhere. Okay. So you don't just have to be in the spiritual business to advertise with us. You can advertise anything. So the show lineup, as it speaks for right now, I am myself Schooled Thru Spirit at 9 a.m. Central Standard Times every Monday morning. We go on to Tuesday mornings at 9 a.m. is Be the Change. That's with Christina Bloom. On Tuesday evenings, we have Kevin Mackey with Newbridge Radio. He is on at 7 Central Time. Haunted Voices is on at 8 Central Standard Time, and that is with Todd Bates, our producer, and he also co-hosts that with Nicole Strickland. Beyond him at 10 Central Standard Time is Pete Orbea, and he has got Paranormal Pete. On to Thursdays is Afterlife Chronicles, and that is on 8 Central Standard Time with Nicole Strickland. And The Secrets Within is Friday night at 8 Central Standard Time with Renee Rodriguez. I am going to look at the page because I do know that Misty Ford and I always looked at. I need to memorize those, so I'm looking up at you guys. Missy Ford and Missy Hart and Nicole Ford are coming back on. I do believe they're coming back up. Here it is. They're coming back on Wednesday nights, 8 Central Standard Time with Over the Target. Oh my God, guys. I'm going to just show you the banner for this. If my phone will show it. I don't know if it'll show it. Okay, I'm going to do this. That is a kick-ass banner right there if I ever seen one. Over the Target with Missy and Nicole. Okay, that is a new show with that. I cannot wait. I cannot wait to hear what that show's about. So I do believe it's maybe next week they're starting. I'm not positive on that, but when I find out, I'll let y'all know. Okay. So those are some beautiful things happening. Beautiful things. Let me see. We also have other things in life happening, at least for myself. What am I doing, Todd? I'm with research. Todd's always laughing at me like, oh my God, yeah, you're always on your phone. I am. I'm not a technology person, but I'm always on my phone Googling something. But I do want to let you know next Sunday. Oh my God, it's next Sunday already. Oh my God. This weekend, I am flying to Buffalo, New York, to join Rob Thompson, the head investigator, the lead investigator, and producer, and everything else of the Ghost Finders. It's a show that's been streaming for this is their 11th season. But Rob is a beautiful spiritual medium, along with the paranormal, and him and myself are going to join a stage to do demonstrations of spirit coming through as a joint, as a pair, going together to bring spirit. God, I'm just messing that all up. On stage at Statler City Psychic Fair. Okay, it is Sunday, October 24th, 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. is when the event itself is going on. Rob and I will take a stage for an hour during that period of time. Trust you can go get your tickets for the event at statlercity.com. There's been hundreds, I've heard more than hundreds of tickets already sold, so get yours. I don't know if there's a limit or not, but this event's going to be rocking huge. Oh my God, guys, come on, not down. Enjoy it. Please come see us. That is this coming weekend, okay? So excited about it. Other things that are happening in my world and my life. One, my new website is live. It is www.DeEtteRanae.com. Go check it out. It's amazing. Todd, my producer, created this website and is going to manage it and grow it and make it beautiful all the time. On that, you'll be able to also see that I have started classes again for the fall session. So if you would like to take a beginner's psychic mediumship development class with me, where you're going to learn all the basics that I know to give you, start to help retrain your brain to notice your senses more, and start to be able to reach into the other side and or energy, and really kind of make some, give you some answers, maybe some confusing things you've had along life, like, oh my God, I just know things or whatever, but kind of get you started on that journey and learning how to trust yourself, trust spirit, just make sense of it all. That class is starting November 1st. It is an online class. It's going to be going on for 7 lessons, 8 weeks, and it's all by Zoom, where I email lessons every week to you. Just if you want to join that class, please reach out to either my email, which is medium@DeEtteRanae.com. Just send it there that you'd like more information and or join the class, and we'll go about there getting you registered and in. The class will be every Monday night, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, of which I will be recording the classes, so that if you cannot attend one, don't worry about it. I can send you back, the recording of it. I'm also going to start up intermediate psychic mediumship development, which is just a continuation of that, or for people that believe they're a little bit more advanced, they don't need just the basics. That is on Tuesday evenings, starting November 3rd at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. That is really starting to expand on the knowledge, really pushing past some comfort zones, doing a whole lot of picture readings, which are psychic readings, starting to do mediumship readings, lots of practice. Again, 7 lessons, 8 beautiful calls through Zoom. For both of them, I set up Facebook chats just to help build a community. And then you get to enter into my own personal student community, where all my students kind of gather on Facebook just to have support, love, and guidance and help of each other. So either one of them, if you really want to join, please, again, reach out. I'm there. Next week, I will not be here. I am so sorry. I was trying to get a flight around the show, and I was gonna do this with my phone like this, from the scene of an airport, but it just didn't work out. It didn't coordinate the way I wanted to, because so I'll be flying back that morning. So God bless you all for being there. They will be doing a replay of a past show, probably this show. What do you think? Do you want to hear Kelley's story again? I want to hear Kelley's story again. So let's do 2 weeks of Kelley. Let's do Kelley's story again next week. So come back in if you've missed part of it. It'll be a recording, but there you go. It'll still be on at the same time, same channel, everything, okay? Again, thank you so much for joining me. God bless you all. I'll see you in 2 weeks. And when I come back in 2 weeks live, who am I going to have? Oh my God, I think I know, but do you know? Kelley Brickle? Oh my God, Kelley Brickle is going to be here in 2 weeks doing numerology readings for everybody. So make sure you're back in 2 weeks because Kelley is a genius with numbers and has got so much information on that. So I do bless everybody. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh. Hi, Angie. Sorry I missed you. Hi, Ome. Ome, I believe. I apologize. Um, let me see. Hi, Sherry. And thank you so much, Kelley, for just a joy talking to you. Okay. See you in 2 weeks, guys. Have a great day. This has been DeEtte Ranae on Schooled Thru Spirit with WLTK-DB.